Hello and welcome back to another Patreon replay review. My name is Combo, and today we're going to be working through GoBlueMason20's review. As I say all the time for him, he's a longtime supporter of the channel, if not one of the longest. We absolutely adore all the support he gives everybody on the cast and crew. He is a very well-known and loved member of our Discord community, so always got to make sure I give him some big shout-outs there. And today we're going to be going through one of his replays. So he actually sent me a replay a couple days ago, and then just before I was starting filming this, literally day of, he sent me a new replay, and this one he said he'd rather me go through because he actually just got reverse swept, unfortunately, in his IGL match, teaming up here with Sandwich Bagel. So he wanted me to go through this game 5, see how they did, and talk a little bit about it. And so even just looking at the scoreline at the bottom, I can already see it's quite the match. So I'm excited to dive on in and keep identifying some of the major things, especially going off of last month, what we had talked about. So especially with my delays, where there's a little bit of a carryover here of that it's honestly still even just within a couple weeks of when I last reviewed him. So hopefully some stuff is still fresh from last time. Hopefully he can still build on some of the other things, and we can go from there. So the hope now is we can identify some good things for his growth moving forward, maybe even deal in some packs or some free play routines or something similar. And as I say to everybody, including yourself, Go Blue, if you're when you're watching, I'll hopefully say, please reach out to me if you want any more specific comments on anything, especially timestamps or whatever that looks like. I'm more than happy to elaborate on things, because obviously we're only ever combined to the about 30 minutes or so that I spend on these. So I want to make sure I can give you and anybody who is getting this service as much quality as possible. So definitely want to make sure that that's clear. And otherwise, I think that covers most of our intro. We can dive right in and see how the lads do this time around. So let's jump on in and showtime. I'm loving the dig Dominus there, looking very sharp coming in, and just the clean beat, very, very nice. I will say one of the big things here, and for me, I guess what I struggle here is in most games, I'll be the cynic. This isn't a goal. This isn't going to be a goal unless you get some crazy 50 or you fake or something else happens, because as we see, you are going dead on to the ball, looking to be dead center. And at least from this angle, it looks like he is coming maybe slightly off, but so he's coming. So most likely, especially when I watched this literally a couple seconds ago, my thought was that this ball was going to 50 off their wall, which is exactly what you want to be taking. My favorite part about this, especially since we just talked about your low 50s, and that's why I'm identifying this, is how you play this. I'm sure in your head too, you're like, oh, nice, because it looks like you play this like a low 50, which is perfect. And I want to watch this in slow motion as well, just so we can kind of identify this for anybody, especially who finds that they're struggling. You see, Go Blue has lined himself up perfectly, dead center on this ball. He's just about to start his jump. He is as dead center, facing the right through that middle of the ball as he can possibly be, which is perfect. If we continue again, he jumps only once. So what he's doing here, and I actually want to watch this one from the side, is he's lining himself up. We'll get rid of that paint. He's lining himself up so that when he jumps and makes contact, we'll go back just slightly. So when he jumps right here, he jumped a little late for me, but that aside, what he's doing is he's playing as if the opponent's car was right here, also going up for this ball and coming on in. So what's perfect about how he's playing this right now is not only, like I said, is he dead center on that ball, so he is hitting it right in the middle. Where you want to be taking what are called low 50s is you actually want to hit a little higher on the ball. So you want to be over it, because right now Go Blue basically has no boost. We know that the goalie didn't go anywhere, so there's likely he has about 30 boost right now, and probably a little more than what Go Blue has. Difference being that Go Blue has speed, whereas the blue player was only just catching up. And if he's on this line right here that I identified, if he hits a little higher, what he's actually doing is he's hopefully either one of two things. He's either killing enough time that then his teammate can come in and help out, or he gets such a perfect 50 by being dead center and just above that center of mass on the ball there, like I was saying, that he lands again right smack dab behind it and can continue that play as well. It looks like this is what he was going for, and other than jumping, I think, a little late, this is basically flawless, and this is a perfect low 50. The funny part being, and why I already think I'm spending a little too much time on it, that Mike here is just disgustingly slow in the first place to it, and you beat him by a mile. So great play, fantastic rush down the middle. I love the cheat play. A lot of people think it's too high risk, but I do think that there's a lot of reward that is generally kind of warranted there. And we see it through and through. If Mike had cheated on that ball, he actually probably would have caught Go Blue, because the ball actually rolled closer to Mike's side than it did to Go Blue's side. So if only had Mike cheated, there probably would have been a goal for, not a goal against. And that really shows that volatility of twos in general. And you see right away, Mike changes his mind here. You watch him come right down the middle. He goes for the heavy cheat, probably from Max being like, cheat, cheat, cheat. Ball pops up. It's awkward. Big whiff from Mike. And big finish from Sandwich. Good position here. The one thing I do want to comment, Go Blue, is you see this ball pop up. You start making your way over. The second you see Sandwich there, your head has to say turn. So you got to turn to your left here and start making your way into that neutral zone and start playing. And I know I brought it up last time, playing at this like 45. So you're aiming at a 45-degree angle towards the net, because what you're doing, horrible coloring in, because what you're doing is you're either giving yourself the opportunity to be ready for the pass if Sandwich is able to come around and then get a good ball into the center, or what you're doing is you're leaving yourself with enough space though that if let's say Mike gets the perfect clear, he comes up this wall, hits this ball, and it booms all the way downfield, way past you, instead of being dead on where now you're going to have to like half flip and then come out of the zone, you're now at this 45, which works perfectly because you're able to already start that turn out of the zone and be able to meet that ball coming back downfield. So this is where you should be going right away, and right away, this is why I brought this up. You see you actually keep inching in, and then you turn out. So I can already see you identified that, which I love, and I'm really happy that you're able to see that. And you did the smart thing of then, as soon as you saw you were tight, start facing your own net, which was perfect. And so you're able to catch that moving out of the end. Ultimately doesn't end up mattering, but it's still a really, really good thing you need to get into that muscle memory, right? Of always knowing, without talking, without thinking, without any type of comms, that you're playing into those, into that positioning that you need. Pop out. Good turn. I love it. See, and I think what I love the most about this is that you're patient, right? And this is a huge thing you and I talked about last time, was that you easily could be up to this ball right away, but you're not. Because if you miss, if you get a poor touch, if something happens, Sandwich is still so deep in your end. So you kill time, and then you wait until Max, Max is already going to be touching this ball. Sandwich hopefully has secured a boost, and now he's going to be working his way out, that you're able to get in there, win a great low 50, land on the wall as well, and now you guys have possession again, which is fantastic. Good win. Stay with that. Good job on the speed. Sandwich should hit these. Unfortunate from Sandwich. These are the huge ones. You told me to talk about Sandwich. I'm going to talk about Sandwich. This is that classic shots he shouldn't miss pack. This is one of the best shots in that pack. And if you haven't already Sandwich or even Go Blue, please do them. It's one of the few training packs I still do to this day, because they're so important. Of that. By no means is this an easy shot. I don't want anybody who watches this replay, regardless of your rank, to be like, yep, this is an easy shot. Because what we're seeing here is we need Sandwich to get around this ball, to hit it on the side, to still get it at a pretty sharp angle. Especially, you can really, really feel that if you watch from above, which I'm going to do just so I can kind of show a little bit of respect here as to why these shots are so hard, is that you see this pop up over. So if you do it from this angle. And so here, as Sandwich comes in, look at the angle he needs to cut. Like that is not easy. And you see him, he does get around it quite well, right? And he is able to get it close. But the issue with these kind of shots, and why I sometimes, if you're not the most confident, I actually do recommend not even taking the shot, is that if you miss, which happens here, right here, when you take this shot, Go Blue has just fully committed, is now half flipping out and not winning that boost. Probably going to hit a little bit of Max, so luckily he doesn't. And now Go Blue is now forced, with both of you in tight. You see I have all 4 players on my screen just looking deep into the corner here. All it takes is a quick touch from Max and a catch downfield. Then now Go Blue is boostless and on the recovery, right? And that's a huge, huge part of this. And you see neither of the goalies jump because they know there's no risk. So that's one of the biggest things of a high level 2's gameplay, is being able to see what feels like a juicy shot like this and know what it means if you miss, right? And that's the biggest part of that decision making there, is you need to know what happens if you miss, because this is a perfect shot if you have a third, right? Because it's a shot pass, and I talk about those a lot. It's a perfect shot pass, beautifully in the middle. If I'm a car here, I can drive in and boom that home, right? That's very, very easy. But now Go Blue is forced to be on this recovery game where he has no boost, has to come all the way, retreat back, and now he has to try to get back in the play. And just like that, we lost possession despite us having an open net literally 6 seconds ago. So it's a really, really important thing to keep in mind for those kind of shots, and you need to master them. And until they're mastered, you got to have some decent decision making to know whether or not it's the ball you should be going for. Let's go back to Go Blue's recovery out. Good half flip. Good use of the couple pads that you have. I love it. Beautiful. Great recovery downfield. And a good challenge here. I want to see the speed. This is what we talked about last time. I don't want these hesitations, right? So as soon you already know as this ball is coming down, let's do it in a slightly different way. Let's do a slower percentage. So you already know as this ball is coming down here, you can see the trajectory. I know you can. You see it following that line right down to this wall here to then bounce off. And so right now, you shouldn't be worried about pops. You shouldn't be worried about anything else. Your only thought should be being the first person in this ball, especially because as soon as we see that Max is rushing to it. Mike has no boost and is currently waiting on it. Actually just started to flip it, possibly the worst possible time he could have. And you could already be dead on this ball if you're coming downfield, right? And so just because you turn out there, and we're going to go back so we can see it again. As soon as you turn back here, let's go back a little further, shall we? You turn out and then turn back in with a little break. I saw that little break check too. And all Max has to do is just drive right through this ball, and now he's taking you out of the play, right? And just like that, we're out. And that's where I want to see you. You're going to miss some balls, but you got to push yourself, right? You really got to try to meet that maximum potential that you have and start trying to read those well in advance. And anytime you're like, wow, that's a fast player, odds are they're doing nothing more than being able to read those balls a little more in advance. And I know, since I know you like pretty well as a player now, I know for a fact you probably can read these balls quite easily, but you're just worried the confidence levels at least of actually hitting it. You got to get over that, especially when, and we go back again, I know this is such a little thing, but it is so important. You know you have a defender behind you, so you know that there's no risk in you at least just trying to read this in advance, because here you see you're either going to read it before this guy or he's going to hit it cleanly by you. You choose to not even go for the quick read, and he just booms it right by you, right? And instead, when you're like, oh shit, I have to take a 50. So try to keep that in mind when you're looking through, and I promise you'll start to feel a lot faster. You'll feel that speed as you're working downfield and so on. Next big point, and this may be, and I'm gonna say right away, we gotta keep mindset, and you gotta keep your mindset in mind here of that, like you were up 2-0, you're now 2-2 in the series, you are up 2-0 in this game, so you don't want to overcommit, and you just had a little whiff there as I was talking about, but still, never does that justify you sitting with 67 boost this far back. Look, we're waiting, and now we're in here by the time that Blue's already taken possession, because you forced Sandwich into a 2-on-1. You have to join him on those plays, or else this team will know that you're sitting on your heels. And if I'm this team right now is when I start mounting my attack, because now I know I just beat you cleanly to a ball, so I'm feeling a little more confident in my speed if I'm maxed. And I know that they just tried to 1-on-2, so they're playing extra safe. So I'm going to start hitting balls deep. I'm going to start trying to push you even harder than you've been pushed all game, and start seeing where we go from there. And then we get a little slip up, unfortunately. This one wouldn't happen if you were closer, so that's why I don't want to harp on it too much. But right away, and this is where I want that 45 again, I'm not a fan of your positioning here. You're putting yourself in the position where as this ball is coming around the corner like this, you are moving downfield, following it, so that if this ball, let's say Sandwich gets a great touch, he falls in behind, comes under it, and he gets a beautiful little pop off the wall right in front. Instead of being in a position where you could come right from the center and boom that and score that, you are now chasing the ball to get around it to then hit it in. It's a much more difficult shot. And so just fundamentally in twos, and this is not the be all end all rule, but this is, like I said, this is a fundamental that you need to adapt and change based on your teammate. You should always just be opposite sides of your teammate. Never be on the same side of the field. I really like to say, and I'll draw it up for you here, just because, and like you are a pretty content savvy person, you tend to know this stuff well, but I'm still going to show you just in case you haven't seen it. I've seen some drawn definitions of twos rotations being in 6 chunks. So you have it like this, and like this. And what their rule is, what you are following right now, I'll keep in mind, what their rule is for when I've seen this kind of concept is that in twos, you should only ever be in an adjacent quadrant from your teammate. So Sandwich is here, therefore you should be here, here, or here, all of which I think are fine. And this is why I say it's adaptable based on your play, because what you should be looking at is it should be what's going to be the most beneficial situation right now. So I'm going to leave these up, and we're going to go back slightly and watch downfield what I'm talking about. If we go back. So you switch out, or sorry, you stay in. Sandwich pushes back. You keep it in. You keep it in, and then Sandwich takes over. You guys are in the same quadrant, but the difference for me being that Sandwich is rotating in when you're rotating out. But you can see, through this method at least, you really see my timing point, right? Of that Sandwich rushes this a little too quick. So now you're both stuck in deep and are on the recovery as you work your way out. So now we switch. Sandwich is going to be in the back quadrant. You're going to be in the mid quadrant. They're not quadrants, but I'm going to keep calling them quadrants. Sandwich comes in. You go to the the close quadrant. He's in the far one. And now, by this point, you're too far. And so you see what I mean? This is why I do really like this strategy, because it does show it quite well, that you're too far away. You need to be closer to him here. But what I want to see instead, and so I'm going to draw the 2 routes. Your route, I'm going to draw in yellow, the one you took. So you end up coming kind of like this across. I want you instead earlier, like I said, but if you let's say you made the decision, you're already too far back, now you know you need to catch up. I want you taking the pads and then using the lane to come across field like this. It should be much earlier as you come down field. And watch me be wrong. Watch, you already did this perfectly, but we'll see. So you follow down. Okay, cool. So I did draw your first one right. But see, if you, let's say, had drawn this one, I would have guessed you, I'll draw in blue. I would have guessed you've probably been about here at this point, and it would have been a much easier ball for you to switch in as Sandwich, basically the play from before. As Sandwich comes in and as comes out, you switch in. Simple as that. But since you were on that same side, since you were both in this very, very tight sphere here, once you realized you had to catch up, you leave yourself out of being able to play this possession game, and that's where we end up seeing you guys bump each other, right? And it's something so small, but I know you felt that right away right here. As soon as Sandwich is leaving, and now he's trying to avoid you, you're trying to avoid him, and now you're all over each other, and now Sandwich, who's on the recovery, now needs to become the front man, which is completely breaks the rotation we should have had, right? And so that's a big thing to keep in mind there. Same thing, and so this is what I referenced last time. Is this a hard read? 100%. Definitely don't want to pretend that that's an easy one. This isn't a great read at all. But by this point, and I love that you were switching between your cameras. That was beautiful. But by this point, you already see your line. You see the ball trajectory coming in. It's going to be pretty hot coming off the wall here. And you already see Mike is supersonic full of this ball. And he beat you last time with this, right? And so you got to keep this in mind of that the second you see that you are not in the most comfortable position, especially knowing that you are last back because Sandwich just fully committed, you cannot commit to this play. Hold yourself in net, see what he does, and see if you can walk it out. Because when you rush at this ball, and he does what I talked about before, where Sandwich just hits it plainly off the wall, this time, though, you committed where they didn't last time, and now Sandwich is left on the recovery having to try to make a play. Whereas if you had just waited in net, so we see where this ball lands, if you had just waited in net here, as you saw this guy rushing, you could have actually aerialed up to this and potentially beat him to this ball, scored a wide open net because he did what Sandwich did earlier, right? And so you can see this counterattack mentality in twos of that your best gift is patience in twos, and I really want to see you using that here. And if you're not going to use patience, you need to be overconfident on those reads, and you should have been at that read 10 seconds earlier, right? You should have been way faster than that. So you can't be stuck in this no man's land. You really got to make up your mind on these plays, because instead what we end up seeing is Max having possession, getting one flick over, pinching in the middle, and teammate there to clean it up. First goal against, just like that, right? Now your momentum's gone. And I will say, I think they've had all the momentum since I brought up that first little whoops of you challenging in the neutral zone, right? And so I really do think they've been in control. Was your challenge the cause of that? Of course not. But it's something to keep in mind, right? Winning those extra couple challenges, looking at that a little bit faster to balls is going to mean the world, right? Same thing. So I love this speed. I love that you commit here. By this point, you already know Max is lined up, right? So why are we still fully supersonic driving into this? I love that you're not using boost. I think you're already one step safer than a lot of people are. But you see right away, look how deep in you are at this point. Once you go back to ball, there we go. Look how deep look where the play is, and look where you are when you didn't challenge, you didn't force anything. Like nothing really occurred other than you making him boom, which, like I said, is good. But you could have done that 10 seconds earlier when he saw you already, right? And so just being aware of that when you're trying to watch these plays, and instantly should be another goal against, right? It should be a tie game right now, and we're lucky that it's not. But it's a huge thing you got to keep in mind. Good try in the catch there. I love that you're taking this slow. Careful. I will always say, and this is such a hard thing to get into your muscle memory, but and if it's never been said to you, I hope that it's helpful. Never cut when you see the turn. So right now you have full vision. You see Max with the turn. Right now just before you had no vision because he's blocking, and so generally you're gonna make your play. By this point you already know he's coming, right? You've already seen that. So you cutting here just gives him an open 50. This is where you should be practicing those low 50s. The second you miss that first catch, know that you're not gonna have enough speed to make a cut. Know that you're not gonna have enough speed to make a flick. Halt yourself right behind that ball, jump just above it when it comes. Simple every single time, and I guarantee you dominate players like this because he turned on a dime and is rushing this. All you have to do is win that 50. Hopefully Sandwich is coming up the neutral zone with you, and bing, bam, boom, we got a 2-on-1. Just like that, right? Or instead, when you try to cut this, and this is the way I said, never start a cut when you see someone turning to you because you don't know what they're doing yet. They currently hold all the cards, right? When you start this cut, that's an easy read for him, right? Now he's hit that over you, and now you're going to have to try to switch it with Sandwich, who is luckily in a great position there. Sandwich to the middle. Ooh, and very close here. Trust your teammate, right? You are currently, the two of you are in the most perfect twos positioning you can possibly be in for a rush. Mike is awkward, gonna have to turn into challenge. Max is rushing back to net as he just used all his boost to challenge you. You have plenty of boost still, and you're already facing forward. Start inching into sandwich. This is the 45 that I'm talking about, except when I said before you're 45 into a net, 45 to that pass. Start very slowly inching towards him, because if he gets the pass off, great, you have a boom on net. If he doesn't, great, you're already starting that rotation back, and you can go from there. And only if we had trusted here, passed across, you would have been in a perfect position to eat that up, right? But luckily, Max has a terrible touch. You're able to eat it up 3-1 game. So great positioning after all anyways, but imagine how sweet that passing play would have been, right? The confidence that would have come from that. You would have been a statement goal against these guys. You're taking back your 2-goal lead. You're doing it with style and with flash. Boom, done. Would love, this is so small. Would have loved to see you turn the other way, right? This comes down to reading. Right now, you're already facing backwards, and so you're already started in this rotation this way. Follow it through. It's much faster than having to then turn this way and hopefully, again, get around the ball, where in here, you're already being around it just by turning. Very small thing, but just keep that in mind. See what I mean? A little awkward, but great low 50 min. I love that I'm already seeing you practicing these. Great center. Where's sandwich? Unfortunate. Let's actually see where sandwich is. Being safe. I like his fishing. Fantastic. As soon as he sees you win, boost. Diagonal flip boost. Instantly you're in the play, right? You got to be there, but he's not. And he could have been there, right? He could have forced a little more pressure. And right here, he gets to a great position to, again, same thing, force some good pressure. But still, it could have been earlier. Could have been faster, right? Great save. Go blue. I'll switch back to you. Same thing. I'm seeing you sitting a little far back, right? I know you don't have a lot of boost. This is a 2-on-1, right? Sandwich is looking for you here. You see him looking into the middle, right? Let's look at his perspective. He sees 2-on-1. He sees glory. What's he going to do? He gets on the other side of the ball to pass. Nobody there, right? Nothing with him. And this is where your safe mindset and your like being that third man that we've talked about before has to stop, right? You land, you do a great job. Look at these lanes. Look at these pad lanes. They're perfect, man. Instantly, I want boost and a flip into the play, but you're so late getting back to it, unfortunately, where I really want to see you pushing those harder. Unfortunate touch from sandwich there, but what can you do? There you go. See, you have this tendency to inch in. See how you're inching in here? You're waiting, you're inching. Right now, I want you equal to him, right? I want you up in the neutral zone. I want you right next to him, but in that quadrant, or right on the line of that quadrant that I brought up the first time, right? Because same thing. Look, he's looking to the right. He's looking for something to generate, but you're so far back that we're never going to generate offense. Do you need offense right now? No, of course not. And then I'm fine with the playing safe mentality. But the biggest issue that comes with this playstyle, and take it from the guy that coaches it, man. When I coach CRL, when I coach teams, I coach them a stay-at-home D. Like, that's my favorite style to play. But you still need to find your chances to generate offense. The way to play, and we see this in the RLCS, the way to play a good, solid stay-at-home D that works in Rocket League is a stay-at-home D with several saves and an absolute breakout, like absolute force of when exiting the zone, right? You got to come out with passion, with speed, with hard touches. There needs to be more, because then that's the difference between a good stay-at-home defense and a defense that's on their heels all game, and we don't want you on your heels all game. So I really, really want to encourage you to look into that and start kind of assessing when you think you're sitting a little too far back, because it's happening a lot. Good positioning. Don't be afraid. This is something I've been doing a little more recently. Don't be afraid to stomach these, eh? Jump up, and let me quickly. So you'll jump up and rotate. So you'll air roll your car to the left so that your wheels are facing the ball, because then you're just going to sit the ball right under. And what I tend to do is when I let the ball, let's say my car is like vertical here. Okay. This is the side we could see technically is the top of the car. So the ball's going to hit the bottom of it. As soon as it hits, like if let's say comes in and hits right in the middle there, I actually rotate my car backwards, doing a little backflip to then land flat, and then the ball, like I said, drops right here, and you can make your way in with the play. I've been doing this a lot, and it's something you can't really practice in free play, but start practicing in games, and because it dominates, especially when you see that this guy's rotating back to net and this guy's the one who hit it. You have zero pressure, so what's the harm in trying it, right? We know we're winning right now. We know that we have speed and a little bit of momentum, and we could have had a couple goals already. try to use that, right? Let's not play so on our heels that we're going to get burned, because when you hit this over, which feels like a safe ball, all we're doing is handing back possession to them, right? Same thing. What's the play here, Sandwich? What are we doing, right? Like, we come in, we just shoot. That's an easy catch and move for Mike, right? We've just given possession away just like that. We're playing on our heels. Another good challenge attempt for you, Go Blue. A great 50 there. Should have been a goal against. Just like that. No reason that's not a goal against. Great bump there. Go Blue, you got time. Good job. Unfortunate. I wish, and this comes with a little practice, and this is a really good thing, actually, I want to note on here. You get this pad. Don't use it right away. You actually use it as you're landing. That does nothing for you because you just boosted. You see the direction you're facing. You're nowhere near the ball. Do a diagonal flip and use that boost just before you start that diagonal flip to give you that little extra ounce of speed. And only with 15, sometimes less, which is what you had, you can get supersonic. And you could have been on this ball right away. Maybe even get a pre-flip or something on it just to generate a little more speed. Again, a little more advanced comes with time, but I know that your skill ceiling is so much more mental than it is physical for you. And so I'm hoping by prodding you to these a little more advanced like mechanics and styles, I know you'll start advancing even more with them. So I want to keep that in mind because this guy just gunned by you, and let's watch Mike's perspective here. You get a great bump. You turn, you get the touch. Look at that. So he uses a little boost, uses diagonal flip, and he zooms by you with that little ounce, right? Just like that, and you had the lead on him there, and he was able to get 3 flips in the time that you got 1, right? And that's a huge, huge thing to keep in mind. Recovery. Good lanes. Beautiful boost lanes. Still, I want you coming back with a little more. Make that goal 40 to 50 every time, right? But you're looking good. Much, much better. Great challenge. Little messy from Sandwich. Not a huge fan, but I do like the touch that he ended up getting from it. But little too tight for me. Yeah, talking. I see the confusion. Who's going? Sandwich, are you going? No? Great, I'm going. There's no discussion. There's no, is it you kind of thing. It's a one of you needs to take lead. Say, are you going? If it's a no, great, I'm going. No questions asked. No discussion. Look how far they're able to get downfield. They get all the way to half with a passing play, with a great pop-up over the net. That, again, should be a goal against, and purely because we didn't have a challenge in the neutral zone. And it's these little things that are breaking your team down here that I really want to keep addressing. Good job not going. This, dude, let me tell you, even when I'm queuing like 16s to 1700s, this, if I'm you, or if, let's say I'm playing and my teammate is you, they almost always go with you there because they're looking for a breakout. It works sometimes. To me, it does not work enough that it's warranted. So I love that you just let Sandwich do his thing. He already has momentum. He has ball control. Let him work his way out and go from there. Same thing. We saw this last time. Why are we jumping if we already know that he's going to be touching this ball? Mike lands perfectly, so halt. No break. Hit the brakes. Stop where you are. You have 50 boosts. You got plenty to work with. Let him hit it. That's an easy clear for you, right? That's such an easy little pop for you to take if you hadn't gone, and unfortunately they end up scoring on it because Sandwich is a little awkward recovering in. But you're rushing these challenges when I know you could be reading them way more in advance. So try to use that. Use that sports mentality. Use the vision that you probably have when you're playing games in general and go, same thing. So awkward. Why is this awkward? Right now, Go Blue, I know this was probably just a who should get the boost, but right now there's a boost right there, there's a boost right there, and there's a boost right there. Why are we not just driving through that and getting ready to catch and bring it on net? Let Sandwich get this boost and cycle back around into the middle with you. Boom, again, 2-on-1, just like that. But this awkwardness, this like lack of comms or worriedness is what really is screwing you guys here. Because this is Sandwich boost. This through and through, that's Sandwich's boost, and I know that's why you break, but then he leaves it for you, and you're like, I guess I'm taking it, and now, lucky for you, there's no hit. And unfortunately, the miss. Shots you shouldn't miss. I'm going to throw them back at you. But again, we could have had a goal 4 there, and even much quicker if it weren't for the little confusion that came from it. Oh, scary, I'll be honest. Good patience. See what I mean? This should be your play every single time. You see him coming in, so you're like, I'm just going to wait, let him hit it. He doesn't? Great, taking it. Done. Just like that, 1-on-1, right? And that's what you should always be looking like. Good possession play. Good pop over. Let Sandwich take it, not your ball. Beautiful. Not like I'm into this cutoff from Sandwich here. Like, I don't mind it. I see he also gets bumped into it. And I can't hear your comms. I just hope there's comms on this, right? If Sandwich should be yelling, I got it. So that now this is the same thing. He is switching over to your side. Therefore, you get this boost and you move into middle now. Like I said, hopefully shooting for that 45, like I was saying. So you're not chasing the ball across. You can meet it instead. And if he misses, great. You can turn out or turn in either way. And you're giving yourself a much more availability there. This is another small thing that unfortunately does end up leading to a goal. I like you being close here, but why are we boosting up the wall, right? Because you already know at this point, I know you're not jumping. Like, you've made that decision well in advance, and I can even read that off your car. So why are we wasting boost? Why are we going up? Why are we now forcing Sandwich, the guy who is now recovering from a challenge, right? He's recovering here. Why are we on this wall? Because if Mike gets a good hit into the middle here, that is instantly a goal against. And what does he do? He gets a fantastic hit in the middle. Sandwich chooses boost over ball, and it's a wide open net. And I'm sure in your head, you're like, Sandwich, why weren't you in net? Which is true. Like, as soon as you went for that, that means he's goalie, and he should have been in net. But why were you there in the first place, right? Your job is killing time, not allowing them just to hit it over you and get an easy goal, right? And you really got to look at that. Because unfortunately, with 22 seconds left on the clock, I'm sure you were feeling a little low at that point, I'm sure. So... good speed from Sandwich. Good job. But I still see the hesitations, right? Like, I know you could have won this, right? The second you see him miss, it's a quick, where are they? Cool. I see Mike is not facing. I see Max is rushing back to net. Good. You have 40 boost. Keep this ball in and make your decision. Don't inch up to be like, nah, and then pull out. Because if he gets a boom here, you are now chasing it, right? You got to make the decision instantly. Are you going or not? If you're not, pull back right away. Don't even inch near it, kind of thing. Because now if he got a much better hit here, you would have been on the reverse. And he ends up recovering very beautifully and does put you in a pretty awkward position with a very awkward touch that it very easily could have been a goal against, right? And I'm sure you felt that right away too. Of you guys nearly threw the series, unfortunately, with that play. But you got to be careful of this little no man's land activity that I'm seeing. Close, nice try. Same thing. See what you're doing for yourself. Watch yourself here, and see if you get where I'm getting at. This ball rifles off the sidewall. The second you see this trajectory, I know it's coming nowhere near you. It's going well over your head. So why are we driving towards the wall only to have to S and drive all the way back? And now you're playing catch me, right? You're trying to catch up to this ball the entire way, where we could have just been there in advance, right? And had a much easier catch. And unfortunately, now that puts you in a very awkward position. Good job. Join him now. Get right in the play. Beautiful. Take out a goalie. Well done. Oh, so narrowly. Same thing. You're putting yourself in an awkward position, right? I know you're the one challenging here, but as soon as you see the first guy miss, stop. Wait right here. Don't move. Let this guy hit it. But you've now committed to the wall, hoping that it rolls up when all he has to do is not, and now you're out of the play again. If he got a good bump there, you guys are unfortunately shit out of luck, right? And that could have been a goal against. Something to keep in mind. Same thing. And now you're rushing shots, right? Could you have scored this? 100%. Not even a question. You could have scored this, but you end up rushing it, right? I see this. I feel a little bit of panic. I see this rush in the way you're playing, and you gotta slow her down, right? Use that patience that you have, and you're so good at. Like that, right? Beautiful patience. Now you're not chasing. Now you're not anything. Doesn't matter. You got demoed. You got in the way, right? You shifted up the play and how it was gonna go. That's what it should look like every single time you're on that ball. That was a good demo. I could see Sandwich waiting very patiently for it. Nice try on the shot. That's the exact same shot as Sandwich, right? If you don't score this, simple as this, if you do not score this shot, you are creating a 2-on-1. Shots you shouldn't miss is the pack, but it's also the decision making. Do you aerial up to this ball? I don't think so, because if you miss this, which you do, boom, we got a 2-on-1 and you're stuck in their end. Luckily, Max rushes it, right? But should have been a goal against, and I'm going to keep saying that. Good. Beautiful patience on the goal line, man. Absolutely like perfection on the goal line there. Good follow as well. Good try. Don't even mind the miss. That was fine. Good attempt. Yeah, see, like, this is what I'm trying to say. So I think on defense, you look incredibly solid. On offense, you lack the ability to be there. I'm going to let this play while I talk. On defense, you lack the ability to be there a lot because I think you're in your own head about it quite often. And whereas then finally, in that neutral zone, you look really good sometimes when you're taking those low 50s, when you're playing patient, when you're trying to make these plays. But then the second you start overthinking, or the second you start thinking about what comes next, I see this panic, and I feel this panic when you're playing that ends up kind of breaking you down. Good patience again. Ooh. Oh, and a beautiful shot too. Oh, what a good shot too. I'll just quickly address this. Same thing. I think you end up putting yourself in no man's land, right? So you're facing away so early, and then you inch in, and then you're like, nah, I don't want it. Like, see all that hesitation? That now, again, you're playing catch up to the ball. You're trying to chase this ball down, and so then you come in, get a good play. Doesn't matter. I'm happy you didn't jump. That was perfect. And unfortunately, you inched just that little bit too far past that back post, right? And I'm sure you felt it right away, but can't blame you there, man. That was a beautifully placed shot, and a great game overall. That was a great spectator game. Actually, had a blast watching it. A lot of back and forth. Really kind of felt the vibe of the entire game, and that, like, especially knowing the scene, right, of that was game 5 and your best of 5, unfortunately being reverse swept in OT as well. But unfortunately, it's weird as this sounds, it's your offense that's your downfall. Yes, you let in 4 goals, which I think is a little too much sometimes, or every time it's a little too much. But generally your goals against were coming from a lack of offense, right? You had, I think, 3 to 4 opportunities when up 3-1 in this game to absolutely pummel the spirits of the opposite team by scoring that one more goal, getting that one extra goal of insurance. In every sport, I will always say, any sport that does like single goal scoring like this, I will always say a 2-goal lead is the hardest to keep. Because the next goal or the next point will always be the most important. It either brings the opposing team up by or down by 1 and it brings them that much closer, cuts the lead in half, however you want to word it, or it makes the gap so wide that it feels insurmountable to most people. So you need, whenever you're in that 3-1 situation, that 2-0 situation, you need to capitalize. And unfortunately, when you started playing so back and so safe, that's where you got bit, right? You're playing on your heels all game. So really try to keep that in mind. I saw 3 times that I referenced the shots you shouldn't miss, the 2 of you taking shots when your teammate wasn't ready. That would unfortunately lead to a 2-on-1. You should have had a couple goals against with them, but luckily they didn't. But those are the kind of the big things I'm seeing. If there's anything that you want me to break down further, man, please just shoot me a message. You know I'm always happy to chat with you. Would more than happily call you, go through anything you need, and that's where we're going to leave it though. So thanks as always, GoBlueMason. It's always a pleasure working with you, and I really appreciate your support as always. You even gave me some really nice comments in the Discord, and that made my day, so I really appreciated that. But for now, that's where we're going to leave it. This has been another Patreon replay analysis for the ASAP Weekly Podcast. I've been Combo. Thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever medium you choose, and I will see you next time.